What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got another 2022 NBA draft video to of course be going over with you guys. Again, the draft recently just happened. There have been a lot of teams where I think a lot of people have just kind of been talking about. I mean, like the Orlando Magic have of course been talked about quite a bit for literally flipping the draft on its head and taking Paolo Banchero, and a couple other teams here and there, being talked about. One team that I feel like is actually being talked about pretty decently, that I still feel like actually had somewhat of an underrated draft, because they kind of went in there and filled out literally everything that they need, was actually the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, of course, with Banchero going with the first overall pick now, OKC were kind of left with one of the biggest challenges in the whole entire draft. And what I actually mean by that is, they were pretty much set on taking Chet Holmgren for like the last 20 billion years. But now all of a sudden Jabari Smith was on the board and they actually had an alternative option to go with. And I am very, very glad that they stuck with their gut and decided to take Chet Holmgren. That is already a huge W, that they didn't decide to completely reverse all of their, what they have been thinking about and the information that they've gathered, and they just went with their gut and really took the player that they knew was going to be great for this franchise. Again, when they did take the pick, I think a lot of question on a lot of people's minds was, are they going to play him at the 5 or the 4? And I think by the other picks that they decided to take in the draft, I think it got pretty obvious on where they were going to go, and I think it made just a whole lot amount of sense. Then, of course, with the 11th overall pick, the Oklahoma City Thunder did something really interesting. This pick actually belonged to the Knicks, and I guess the Knicks maybe were somewhat threatening to take this player, but basically OKC really wanted Ousmane Dieng. So OKC, what they actually decided to do was say to the Knicks, hey, we'll give you a bunch of first round picks that are all protected in their own different ways, and you can give us pick 11 considering you don't necessarily have a player that you want to get. Then with the 11th overall pick, they were able to bring in Ousmane Dieng, who they really wanted to get at pick 12. Again, so far, Sam Presti has hit the nail on the head with every single move that he's done so far. You've legitimately brought in your future starting center that could legitimately be obviously an all-star. Like Chet Holmgren, in my opinion, I think he has the most potential out of anyone in this draft class. And then you go and bring in Ousmane Dieng, who is a 6'10" guy that has the ability to play point guard. Yes, you legitimately heard me right. Ousmane Dieng was actually originally a point guard before he had his big growth spurt, and that's why he's such a great ball handler. Not just that, because before he had his growth spurt, he was guarding the 1 and the 2 a lot. He actually knows how to guard 1 through 4. They legitimately just bring in a dude that can guard 1 through 4, can ball handle and play make, while also having veteran experience, experience against, leaders and veterans playing in the NBL for the New Zealand Breakers. So, whether or not Ousmane Dieng will be their starting power forward next season will be, I think, a very interesting question. I think Baisley will probably still start over him for now. But then the other thing they pretty much needed to tick was, I think, bring in a shot creator. Now, I honestly thought that they could have gone with a lot of different players here, but we know that Sam Presti always has like something up his sleeve, and this is really no different, where they actually decided to take Jalen Williams, who I think was a surprise one. I don't think many people knew a whole lot from Jalen Williams going into this draft. I feel like I think I saw someone had him going at like pick 19 or pick 20 or something like that. But again, he went high and went to pick 12. He is a very, very good scorer, good offensive option, and a solid defender as well at times. Again, he still needs to develop being a defender down the road, but I think that will eventually come, and I think that's pretty obvious. The main thing is pretty much his scoring. He's a really solid scorer, whether it's the 3-point shot or, again, the mid-range. He can kind of do everything. In fact, I believe he actually shot 39% from 3, which is really good. And yeah, I think he will come to this OKC team, and what his role will be is to be somewhat of a microwave scorer, but also, again, just a dude that can shot create for himself and be a good catch and shoot player. And the beautiful thing about this is OKC really needed to go out and get some 3-point shooters. I think they were the worst 3-point shooting team in the league, and they've actually done that by bringing in a dude who's pretty much 40% from 3. You're not necessarily getting good 3-point shooting out of Dieng or Holmgren. In fact, Holmgren seems to be a mid-range specialist that is still developing that 3-point jump shot, while Ousmane Dieng is, I think he was about 34% from 3, so I would say below average, but he will definitely develop and he will get there. I think they're really banking on Josh Giddey to improve his 3-point shot from last season. Also, Lou Dort, I think they're going to want a bigger season out of him than just the 33% that he shot. You've still got SGA there, though, that, again, has also struggled on that 3-point shot. He was actually 42% not long ago, but now was 30% from this season. But yeah, this team is really starting to kind of shape. I feel like going into the free agency, though, they should be looking for a young shooter at some sort. I'm not exactly who it is going to be, but I think that's what they particularly need to go after. And that, could really be anyone. And you're kind of hoping as well that Darius Bazley continues to develop and also gets his 3-point jumper up, because it's not great. But they're looking at a starting 5 now that I think looks like Josh Giddey, Lou Dort, SGA, Darius Bazley, and Chet Holmgren. They've just filled in that center position now. And then, of course, off the bench, they will have, I think, Trey Mann, Poku will still be there. And now you've, of course, just brought in Ousmane Dieng and Jalen Williams, who I think will both be big contributors. In my opinion, they hit the nail on the head with all 3 picks. I absolutely love the Chet Holmgren pick and Ousmane Dieng pick. I think they were both really, really good. They did not fix their 3-point shooting really at all with those 2 picks. But then they decided to take Jalen Williams, who should be able to help shot create and also be a good catch and shoot type of player. So that is there as well. They also actually took another player, which I don't know a whole lot about. But they actually, believe it or not, now this is a bit of a joke in the draft, but they took another guy named Jalen Williams. Yes, you heard me right. They have 2 Jalen Williamses. Just one has a different pronunciation, or spelling, of his first name. And again, they took him at pick 34. I'm not exactly completely sure on everything to do with the other Jalen Williams. Again, he was a little bit of a mystery pick that some people really don't exactly know, I think, a whole lot about. He seems to be a pretty, okay scorer, but his shooting definitely is not that great. It does look like he's a 6'10" guy as well. I don't know, it's a weird pick. I don't really know a whole lot to kind of think about it, but yeah, they're really progressing. I think they're about one more draft away, though. I think next draft they really got to go out and find their, just a forward to start. But also I think they need to fill out that 3-point shooting. So that might be to sign to draft a forward, maybe again a backup forward that can shoot. Just a bunch of stuff like that they're going to definitely be hoping for. But I think they're hoping that Chet comes into the NBA as a good 3-point shooter, and that all their other players just, again, progress as shooters. But I really think they had a really underrated draft class, because even though there are people talking about them, I just think they really stuck to their gut and kind of did nearly everything right. Like, there's not really a fault that OKC kind of had going into this, now into the draft. So I think they did pretty well, and I think it will kind of show on the court, especially when their players start to ball out. Again, probably a year or 2 away from still making the playoffs. I think there are a lot of teams still ahead of them. But if they go out and do some good stuff right in free agency, which they probably won't, because they usually kind of stay away from that, especially in recent times. I think it'll be pretty interesting to see where they kind of go from there. But of course, if you haven't already, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for the latest NBA news and NBA content. Don't forget to comment your thoughts and opinions. Do you guys think it was a good pick? Do you guys think it wasn't? On these couple of players. What do you guys think that OKC should do in the future? Again, I definitely would really like to know all your thoughts and opinions on this down below. And just what do you think about their draft in general? Of course, subscribe to this channel for the latest NBA content and NBA news. Subscribe to my gaming channel, my website following channel, and my podcast. All of them will be linked in the description down below. But as I was saying, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.